but I actually think Jon Snow would have been very good.
Hi, it's Angelina. How are you? So I just wanted to ask what it was like filming my favorite battle scene, Battle of Bastards.
I mean, it was amazing because us and Miguel had done Hard Home the year before, so I knew how good Miguel was, but that made it scary because we knew Hard Home was a great episode and we filmed a brilliant action sequence and then we had to do it again, and so it was daunting. I remember it being like, well, nothing can be as good as Hard Home. We loved Hard Home, and then we realised what the plan was for it and how epic they were going to make it, and I started realising what a genius Miguel was, that he could do it not once but twice. He was going to do it again, and we were filming it, and I remember thinking this could be really special. But then seeing it was something else. I remember it blew me away seeing it. I was so happy with it. I think if I look back at Thrones and I look back at my work on Thrones, that for me is the peak for me with the character. I think I'm most proud of that episode.
I just wanted to ask you. People love to make a lot of comparisons between Ned Stark and Jon Snow in the sense that both are very honorable men, some of the few good people in this world. So with that comparison in mind, I wanted to ask, what do you think Ned would think about Jon killing Daenerys, especially with the sense that Ned is very critical about Jaime Lannister basically doing the same with Aerys II. So how do you think that conversation would go?
It's not something it's a very good question. It's not something I've thought about, but I think that you're absolutely right that Ned very much judged Jaime Lannister being Kingslayer, and with Jon becoming Queenslayer, essentially. I think he would struggle with what his father would think. Well, it's not father, but his paternal figure would have thought of that. And I think that Ned actually would have disapproved of it. I think Ned was all about duty and honour, and you serve. And it's Tyrion who convinces Varys who convinced Jon to do that thing, and I think that's what he's mixed up about at the end when he's in that cell with Tyrion and he says, I don't know if we did the right thing, so I don't think he knows, but I think Ned wouldn't have approved, personally.
Oh, hi Kim. So between season 5 and 6, I think at the end of season 5 it seemed like Jon Snow was dead, but then in season 6 we know he was alive, but then in between those two seasons, how difficult was it to keep things under wraps of Jon Snow being alive and having been revived? How difficult was keeping that under wraps?
I think it would it was a collective. What was interesting about it actually is it was a sort of collective. What's the word?
Burden?
No, it was a collective, we're going to ignore the fact that we definitely know he's coming back.
Yeah.
It was a global collective, denial. Because I think if you look at it, if you were going to actually kill Jon, you'd kill him in the 9th episode, and then you'd have a 10th episode of digesting it, like they did with Ned. You don't kill him at the end of the 10th episode. Because there's clearly a cliffhanger. He's going to come back. So when I read it, I went, I'm not dead. Yeah. And I think you all did too.
Yeah.
But we all, for the fun of it, when, oh, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Which I think is quite sweet. But how hard was it? It was pretty, I had to walk around Belfast with caps and there were drones going over set and yeah, it took a bit to kind of like keep it under wraps. Yeah.
My name is Cindy. I'm a little nervous. So we all know you as Jon Snow. He knows nothing. And you are the father of my daughters, regardless what anyone says. So at the ending, we all know, we were all like, what the hell? Were you expecting that ending? Because we were not.
By ending, you mean the killing of Danny?
Yes, and
Yeah.
we were hurt that we were
Yeah.
not the king, but in our hearts,
Look, here's my take on it. I think it's okay to be hurt. And I think that in Game of Thrones, the line is said, if you think this had a happy ending, you haven't been watching, reading, whatever it is. And I think that, I think that there were various things we all could have done differently throughout the show, not just in the final few seasons, but I think that the story is right. And I think Jon killing Danny, I'm sorry, I think is the right ending. For me, and it's important to say for me. For you, it may not be, and that's okay too. But I think for me, it felt like with where the show went, that felt right.
I'm Jenny. Follow up a little bit to that. My question was going to be, in light of both of Jon's greatest loves dying in his arms, and in light of the fact that a possible show about Jon Snow is coming, my question is there room in Jon's heart to ever love again?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope there would be. Yeah, the funny thing about, I said this earlier as well, but I was thinking about Jon and his choice of women, which is that I think he's like the only maternal figure he had was Caitlin, who hated him, treated him like, I swear a lot, I'm sorry, but treated him like crap, right? And he tends to go for really dominant women. It's quite interesting, isn't it? He goes for the really, and I think that there's some Freudian thing going on there. With that in mind, I think he would go for a simple, But I think that especially the egret thing burned him so much that he has definite PTSD and trauma about being in a relationship. So I think it would be tough. Yeah.
Hi. So I was wondering, I think one of the coolest moments for us was seeing towards the end of the series, you getting to reunite, all the Stark kids getting to reunite again. And what was it like getting to actually reunite with these actors and getting to play with now these lived-in, developed characters and on set? How did that feel to kind of play together?
I remember the Sansa reunion especially. It's actually one of my favourite moments. And I think for me it was the fact that I hadn't seen Sophie on camera being Sansa in the flesh since she was about the same height as me then. But since she was my height. But it was, I remember that hug that we had, and it was really genuinely emotional for both of us, I think. Because we had our characters had been through horrific things, and we had been through this journey of the show getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we met in the courtyard of Castle Black, and it wasn't hard to act. It was like, it was a beautiful kind of moment. I remember that especially. Yeah, there was a nice moment at the end of the whole show where there's all four of them, right? And you forget that they've lost another brother. You kind of forget that in the melee of everything. But yeah, it was those were nice moments. They almost felt too big to act sometimes. You're like, there's too much. You had to kind of get out of the idea of it being this big thing and fans watching it and looking forward to it. You have to just remember it's real people rather than trying to play the moment. That's what I'd say on that. Good question, thank you.
I guess I have more of a sweet question. How is your chemistry with your now wife, Rose, on the show? Did you know that she was the one? Or...
Yeah, I remember, I came back from we had a costume, we first met having a costume fitting. And I remember she offered me a ginger biscuit, and I went, yes please. and I just remember coming back from that, back home and saying to my best friend, I think, oh God, I think I've found the one sort of thing, you know. And there is nothing better in life than falling in love with the person you're in love with on screen. It's just astonishing, but it's astonishing. You know, not sorry to be smushy, but I said to her the other day, I was like, we'll never get that, you know how you fall in love, you're never going to get that sort of like the initial giddy feeling that you get back. You have moments where you fall in love with each other again, but like, I reminded her of that, and we just like, every time we think about it, we grin. It's like, it's amazing. We've got great chemistry, and I'd love to work with her again. I really would, yeah. We want to do that, I think. Thank you.
Hey, Kit.
Hey, my name's Zach.
Oh, hey, John.
That's actually Con Snow.
Yeah.
I'd love to ask you, how do you feel Jon Snow's progression played into Kit's progression through life? Like, starting from low and working and getting,
Yeah.
you know.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that for a lot of thrones, it's a tricky one, this, because it's quite a personal one, because a lot of times, Jon's all about honesty and goodness and doing the right thing, and it's quite hard to live up to those ideals. And you're playing this character who everyone associates with goodness and the right thing, and he's a hero. And you're going through a show where everyone's stopping you on the street and going, oh, you're a hero, you're a legend, you're Jon Snow, and you don't sometimes feel like that. Do you know what I mean? And I think that gap between us at times grew. And I felt that he was the better man a lot of the time. And that rift caused me some problems. Because things got bigger and he just stayed good. And I was going through some personal shit and I didn't feel good. And so that could be quite painful. But at the same time, he didn't feel good. Do you know what I mean? He felt bad. He felt like he was doing the wrong. So we had, I don't know, it's a weird one, but sometimes that's the closest I can associate when actors quite wankily talk about their, you know, how in character they were or how mixed up with the character they got. That's the closest I can associate it with, is that sometimes the lines did get blurred between us. in how I felt about him and how I was perceived or he was perceived.